live now. If OBS will connect to restream.io, bum 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 ba da 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 la da 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 do 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 do. Tonight we're reading Moby Dick, Chapter 21, Going Aboard. Let me go ahead and pin that link there in the Twitch chat. And then we're going to get set up in YouTube. Had some technical difficulties trying to get the stream kicked off a few minutes ago, but I think we've got them resolved by restarting my router. Bum ba dum bum bum. Bum ba dum bum bum. Ba ba da ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba. Do 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 do. Okay, so let's let this go. You know, I was actually thinking we should set our status to open streaming, and we should create a voice group called Reading Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Oh, actually, we will need to probably stop it from snowing too hard, because that's going to cause potential issues with stuff I'm still working on. Don't have a perfect snow contingency set up. Rockets and Redstone says, I just wrote a paper on Moby Dick for my English class. Great. Well, we're going to be reading chapter 21 today, and a little bit past that, too, depending on how things go. Going to be keeping an eye on the space weather and all that. Welcome, Amethyst Whisper. Glad you could join us. Okay, so let's make sure that we're all set up. We're not yet. Okay. That's why the setting up stream now sign is up. Now, normally our stream would have some opening intro music, but we don't want to get copyright strikes and have to take down these VODs when we read Moby Dick. So we've got that set up differently than usual. My computer is all wild. I've got all this stuff open, like Live 2D Cubism Editor. Oh, I don't even know what that is. Let's go ahead and close that out. Okay. And welcome, Nutmeg Soup, Unbuckled Spaghetti, Lady Vaporeon, That One Guy, Iconic Anemone, The Ender Ninja, and Art Omelet, and Carnival Fun in YouTube chat. Welcome to the Twitch chat. Howdy, Oligarchy, Neon Wyvern, Adam78, Amethyst Whisper, Rockets and Redstone, 21 Broschev, Goofy Red, Soupkin, Daniel J. McGrail. Daniel J. McGrail said, I heard Dollywood is closed. What are your thoughts on that? I didn't hear that. I heard Dollywood was open. So I have no thoughts on the opposite. What? Why would they close Dollywood? Is it because of construction? They had their off season for a few months, but I don't think it's closed today. In fact, one of my daughter's friends is there today for a band competition. So I'm pretty sure it's open. You might have heard that they closed down for a couple months for construction over the winter, but that's pretty standard. They don't keep the park open year-round. They do a bunch of construction and maintenance and stuff. Yeah, the reason we're reading Moby Dick is because it's in the public domain. People keep asking, Joe, why don't you read this other book that's not in the public domain? And the answer is because I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to tune in, or sorry, to pay for that. Sorry, I started reading Kumquat's message, who says, hey, I've never tuned into one of your streams before. Hopefully you can stick around. Just so you know, it's going to be a weird one. These Saturday night streams, what we do is we grind out like tasks that take a lot of effort, right? So, oh yeah, let me set my settings here. Voice activation. An angry man. Even when I whisper. It's okay, cool. This way, if somebody really wants to come bother me, they can. They can bother me if they want, without me having to be interrupted in the middle of the book. Okay. So, all the things we need to pull up. We're going to pull up mobydickiLlustrated.tumblr.com, your source for cool photographs of Moby Dick. Okay. So they haven't actually left yet in the story, but this is what the ship looks like, if anybody's interested. Here's Evan Dom's illustration of the ship. Okay. So the reason we're linking a lot of Evan Dom's illustrations of Moby Dick is these illustrations are the reason that I started reading Moby Dick in the first place. Years ago, the first time I read it just for me, before I started reading it for the stream. And I want to fully credit my influence here. You know, if somebody recommends something cool to me, then I'm like, oh, hey, I want to be able to say like, oh, hey, B-Dub said this was good, or Cubfan said this was good. If they recommended it through like hard work of creating brilliant illustrations, I want to showcase those. It's a whaling vessel hexagonal type. Pepper Basetti says, what do you and your daughter think about the Northern Lights? That's a whole story that I think we'll tell between chapters. If we start on that now, if we start talking about the Aurora now, then we probably won't get to the actual book. I'm giving people a chance to come in before we get started, but we are going to get started on chapter 21, goingaboard.com. Oh, sorry. I'm typing spaceweatherlive.com and I'm saying .com. I'm really bad at just reading whatever's in front of me. I'm like Ron Burgundy with the teleprompter. It's not good. Yeah, I'm kind of keeping an eye on the auroral oval per spaceweatherlive.com. It looks like if you're pretty far in North America, you might be able to see them now-ish. But that is not a guarantee. Like, you'd have to be in the Great Lakes region, maybe. But if anybody in the Great Lakes region is seeing cool stuff, let us know in the chat. Okay. So if you've never seen a Joe Hills stream before, this is going to be a weird one. Every Saturday night, we do really grindy stuff in-game while we read Moby Dick. We last season did this with Dracula. It's a really good way for me to do stuff that's kind of too mindless to fill a stream with. But still have fun with the chat. It gives me a chance to practice reading out loud. One day I'd love to make, books on tape. Like, I've seen other YouTubers make that jump. Recently, I listened to the Jack McCune trilogy by Benjamin Croshaw. Pretty good stuff. And you can tell how his YouTube stuff informed his reading work. But okay, so we have our first tip of the stream rolling in from Alexis. Just so you guys know, now's a great time to tip because I haven't started reading the chapter yet. Once I start reading the chapter, I'm going to take a break from reading tips until I'm either done with the chapter or like in a longer chapter, there might be a logical point to take a break. But anyway, thank you, Alexis, for the first tip of the stream. That's $5 rolling in, going up on the abacus here. Alexis writes, hey, Joe, excited for more reading stream. Also, a random thank you. Your just ask the question rule has helped me learn how to phrase questions more directly. I was always taught that it was more polite to say, may I ask if insert question here, which has actually helped me deal with commissions better. So yeah, thanks. Hope you had a good stream, and thank you for reading with us. I will say, I understand why you might have been taught that. There are certain situations where framing things as like, oh, this is only my opinion, or have we considered it this way, or what if we, like there are certain situations where being specious, where talking around the point can be helpful. But there are other situations where getting to the point is helpful. When you need a quick feedback loop, like you do in Twitch chat, it doesn't help to be specious like that. But anyway, Mind of Me says the biome variation in the lagoon looks amazing. Thank you. It's something. Okay. Kumquat says in the YouTube chat, I don't regularly watch your HeroCraft 10 episodes, and I kind of don't know what it is. I heard someone say your skin was a hand puppet, but I thought it was like a fish with hypothermia. Yeah. Hold on. Let me back up here. There's not a lot of space on this ledge to put the camera. But yeah, this is a puppet. See, I got my puppet maw here. The problem is it clips through my chest if I'm not careful, so I got a delicate touch. Delicate touch there. Yeah, this is a puppet, and it's a work in progress. But the idea is that this way it encourages me to be a little bit more animated when I'm talking, when I'm in other hermits' videos, right? So that it feels more alive. You know, Scar is, in my opinion, one of the best hermits in terms of moving his head in ways that make connections, let's say, between what's going on and what you should be feeling. And I'm not there yet. So I may look like a fish with hypothermia, but this is just like my excuse to, you know, kind of goof around and make this something different. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and switch our camera back. And, okay. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, I think we are ready to start reading. Oh, nope, we're not. The reading link didn't get pinned on YouTube for some reason. Let me fix that. Pin the Moby Dick chapter 21 link. Okay, once again, anybody who would like to tip, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. And we're going to start reading right now. Chapter 21, Going Abroad. From Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. It was nearly 6 o'clock, but only gray, imperfect, misty dawn when we drew nigh the wharf. "There are some sailors running ahead there, if I see right," said I to Queequeg. "It can't be Shadows. She's off by sunrise, I guess. Come on!" "Avast!" cried a voice, whose owner, at the same time coming close behind us, laid a hand upon both our shoulders, and then, insinuating himself between us, stood stooping forward a little, in the uncertain twilight, strangely peering from Queequeg to me. It was Elijah. "Going aboard!" "Hands off, will you?" "Looky here!" said Queequeg, shaking himself. "Go away!" "Ain't going aboard, then." "Yes, we are. But what business is that of yours? Do you know, Mr. Elijah, that I consider you a little impertinent?" No, I wasn't aware of that," said Elijah, slowly and wonderingly looking from me to Queequeg with the most unaccountable glances. "Elijah, you will oblige my friend and me by withdrawing. We are going to the Indian and Pacific Oceans, and would prefer not to be detained." "Ye be ye. Coming back for breakfast." "He's cracked, Queequeg," said I. "Come on!" "Hello!" cried stationary Elijah, hailing us when we had removed a few paces. "Never mind him! Queequeg, come on!" But he stole up to us again, and suddenly clapping his hand on my shoulder, said, "Did you see something looking like men going toward that ship a while ago?" Struck by his plain, matter-of-fact question, I answered by saying, Yes, I thought I did see 4 or 5 men, but it was too dim to be sure." Very dim, said Elijah. "Morning to ye." Once more we quitted him, but once more he came softly after us, and touching my shoulder again, said, "See if you can find 'em now, will ya?" "Find who?" Morning to ya, he rejoined, again moving off. Oh, I was gonna warn you against. Never mind. Never mind. It's all one. All in the family too. Sharp frost this morning, ain't it? Goodbye to you. Shan't see you again very soon, I guess. Let's pour the grand jury And with these cracked words, he finally departed, leaving me, for the moment, in no small wonderment at his frantic impudence. At last, stepping on board the Pequod, we found everything in profound quiet, not a soul moving. The cabin entrance was locked within, the hatches were all on, and lumbered with coils of rigging. Going forward to the forecastle, we found the slide of the scuttle open. Seeing a light, we went down, and found only an old rigger there, wrapped in tattered pea jacket. He was thrown at whole length upon two chests, his face downward enclosed in his folded arms. The profoundest slumber slept upon him. "Those sailors we saw, Queequeg, where can they have gone to?" said I, looking dubiously at the sleeper. But it seemed that when on the wharf, Queequeg had not at all noticed what I now alluded to. Hence, I would have thought myself to have been optically deceived on the matter, were it not for Elijah's otherwise inexplicable question. But I beat the thing down, and again, marking the sleeper, jocularly hinted to Queequeg that perhaps we had best sit up with the body, telling himself to establish himself accordingly. But he put his hand upon the sleeper's rear, as though feeling if it was soft enough, and then, without much more ado, sat quietly there. "Gracious, Queequeg, don't sit there."
"Oh, very good seat. My country way won't hurt him face."
"Face," said I. "Call that his face? Very benevolent countenance, then. But how hard he breathes. He's heaving himself. Get off, Queequeg. You are heavy. It's grinding the face of the poor. Get off, Queequeg. Look, he'll twitch you off soon. I wonder he doesn't wake." Queequeg removed himself just beyond the head of the sleeper, and lighted his tomahawk pipe. I sat at the feet. We kept the pipe passing over the sleeper, from one to the other. Meanwhile, upon questioning him in his broken fashion, Queequeg gave me to understand that in his land, owing to the absence of settees and sofas of all sorts, the kings, chiefs, and great people generally were in the custom of fattening some of the lower orders for ottomans, and to furnish a house comfortably in that respect, you had only buy up 8 or 10 lazy fellows, and then lay them round in the piers and alcoves. Besides, it was very convenient on an excursion, much better than those garden chairs, which are convertible into walking sticks. Upon occasion, a chief calling his attendant, and desiring himself to make a settee of himself under a spreading tree, perhaps in some damp, marshy place. While narrating these things, every time Queequeg received the tomahawk from me, he flourished the hatchet side of it over the sleeper's head. "What's that for, Queequeg?"
"Very easy, Killy. Oh, very easy."
He was going on with some wild reminiscences about his tomahawk pipe, which it seemed had two uses, both brained his foes and soothed his soul, when we were directly attracted to the sleeping rigger. The strong vapor now completely filling the contracted hole, it began to tell upon him. He breathed with a sort of muffledness, then seemed troubled in the nose, then revolved over once or twice, then sat up and rubbed his eyes. "Hello," he breathed at last. "Who be ye smokers?" "Shipped men," answered I. "When does she sail?" "Aye, you're going in her, be ye? She sails today. Captain came aboard last night." What, Captain? Ahab? Who but him indeed? I was going to ask him some further questions concerning Ahab when we heard a noise on deck. Hello, Starbuck sister. He's a lively chief mate, that good man and a pious, but all alive now I must turn to. And saying so, he went on deck, and we followed. It was now clear sunrise. Soon the crew came on board in twos and threes. The riggers bestowed themselves, the mates were actively engaged, and several of the shore people were busy bringing various things on board. Meanwhile, Captain Ahab remained invisibly enshrined within his cabin. And that concludes Chapter 21 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. If you're enjoying this reading, just as a reminder, we are $15 away from the next Face Camera expansion milestone, and tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Wait, the camera's messed up. Why is the camera over there? Camera's broken. Let me fix it. It's supposed to be down here. Everything's really hard. Yeah, they had a Starbucks on the Pequod. They're everywhere. Let's see. So yeah, let's see. What do we got? Farrah Terrier says, Joe, did you catch the Northern Lights? Caught a bit of them. We actually went and watched from a little bit west of town. We had an okay view. We could see a little bit of pink and purple, but not much. Long exposure on the camera could catch it, but it was very hard to see with the naked eye. At one point, we moved until we were below some high-tension, high-voltage, long-distance power wires. What do you call those? High-voltage transmission wires. Is that what they're called? And you could hear... Whoa. That was not what I intended to do. That's going to be a separate problem. You could hear the... like, the electromagnet... I don't know if y'all have ever spent time under high voltage wires before, but when we used to run cross country, we would like sometimes, you know, run on these trails that were like along or underneath these huge like high tension, high voltage wires or whatever. And they didn't normally crackle, but I actually recorded the noise that they made. Let me see if I can turn this up for you guys. This is way too quiet. Let me try. Hold on, I have an alternate version of this I posted a preview of to my Discord. Let me see if I can find the louder version. Dun, 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 dun. Here, this might be it. Nope, that's the YouTube version. Okay, here. Oh, can I just put this into my stream? Hold on, I'm gonna try downloading this and then dropping it directly into the stream, and then I can adjust the volume better. Give me a second. So, like, the Aurora, like, a lot of people saw that. That's cool, and I like it, but I want to show y'all... This is the sound. Let me see if I can get you the sound of the power lines. Is this going to play properly? Properties, audio... I don't know if it's going to play the sound as loud as it should. Give me a second. Yeah, so anyway, so that's that. It's not very dramatic. Like, I mean, you know, it's not like, because I know some people are like, oh, is this going to be a jump scare video? It's like, no, it's just crackling. That's just what it does. It crackles. Um, Oops. But yeah, let's turn the master volume back up here. Mockingjay says, may I ask what's going on? Oh, that was something I recorded from underneath the long distance high voltage lines last night. Like, cause the coronal mass ejection like created some like wild stuff. Kumquat says, every time I see your VODs, the face camera is different sizes. Yeah, the camera changes depending on, what do you call it? Where the tips are. Yeah. So right now, we're in slot 9, putting the hot in the hot bar with my little green screen here. And we are now $15 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. If anybody wants to show Kumquat how that works, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm kind of getting distracted here. Okay, so trying to figure out how much of this I want to deal with. To some degree, part of me is like, I only want to deal with the part with the road, but the more of this I level, the better. But yeah, the Aurora was cool, but like we didn't have too good a view of it from the naked eye, unfortunately. Like, it was definitely there. You could see hints of it, and then you could check it with a slow exposure on a camera to make sure you weren't hallucinating. Like, I think I see a little bit of pink and purple there. Then you set the 3-second exposure on the camera, and it's like brilliantly pink and purple. It's like, yep, okay, that's real. That is a real thing. But yeah, I was really happy that B-Dubs and his family got to go see it. They're a little bit further north than us, up toward the Canadian border, so they had a good view. But yeah, you can learn more about the current status of the coronal mass ejection and its relationship with the magnetosphere via the spaceweatherlive.com link I just posted there. You can see maps of the auroral oval, get a sense of where the data is coming back from different space probes and different Earth-based readings. Okay, I don't know why you're yelling that. I'm gonna time you out for that, because it's all caps and kind of out of context. Yelling in all caps will generally get you timed out or banned. I'm being nice. Okay. So the problem is that this starts cutting in this way some here. So we need to start going that way. Riggs Diggs says, I saw the aurora in Maine last night. We could see movement in some curtains. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we can just see bare hints of color from where I was. There's a lot of city light and stuff, unfortunately, so we had to go pretty far out, and by the time we got further out, we had missed a lot of the main event. But yeah, like, it was really interesting, like, how loud the power lines were. I've never heard them do that before like that. That was interesting, at least. Bum 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 dun dun. Kumquat says, hey Joe, how long have you been on the server for? I logged in about 20 minutes before the stream started, just to kind of make sure that I was all set. But this season, I've been on the server for 14.81 days is my time with World Open. And I don't really... I don't do really any AFK farms or anything, so that's like that's probably 14.81 days of active playtime. Which so that's 1/6 of the last 3 months I have spent on the server. Because the server went live about 3 months ago, and I've spent almost 15 days on it. Yeah. So that's something. Okay, so this is just a little bit too high up, so we're gonna need to come up this way, I think. And start shoveling. Every day I'm shoveling. So then up to here and over, it looks like. And then where's the next ones? Oh, of course it cuts directly through the pillar. Why wouldn't it? Riggs Diggs says, I woke up my wife and kids to see the aurora. My kids were psyched, my wife less so. Well, you know what? She can determine her own level of involvement. She's an adult. If she, like, looks at it and says, I'm going back to bed, you can stay out here with the kids. That's her prerogative, you know? You gave her the option. That's the best. That's all you can do. You gave her the option. Oh, good. Granite here. Pearl always needs granite. Hey, we got a tip rolling in via PayPal. Let's see who it's from. It's from Alexandria. Thank you, Alexandria, for the 25. Who says, stream tip. It's gonna be my birthday in a day or two. And I was wondering if you could wish me a good one. Either way, I'm happy to support the arts. Alexandria. Well, thank you very much, Alexandria, for supporting the arts and my work in particular. That does get us 10 past our next face camera expansion milestone. And it's getting dark. So we got a few things going on here all at once. Okay. There we go. So please direct your attention down here to slot 9, where I'm putting the hot in the hot bar so I can say, howdy y'all, Grow Hills here, expanding as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. D-da-D-da-D, D-da-D-da-D, And that, yeah, so that puts us 10 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Oh, that's the space weather link. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. So, I was wondering if you could wish me a good one. I think I could do a little bit better than that. How about I wish you a good 1, a good 2, a good 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me a good birthday, give me a good birthday, give me a good birthday in a day or so for Alexandria. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Didn't think about this rhyme 'cause I'm Joe and I improvise all of the time. Not everything has to be fine. But I hope your birthday is especially fine, and I hope you have a birthday time, Alexandria. And then I feel like there's something else that should go there too at the end, but I ran out of rhymes, and I already used the word rhyme earlier, so I can't use it now. I used the word time. I'm like, oh no, oh no. I hope. If you go to the climbing wall, you have a good climb. Yeah, okay, that's the end. Woo! Improvisational music. It's live. Thank you, though, in all seriousness. Thank you, Alexandria, for supporting the stream. I do appreciate it. Mockingjay says, I didn't get to see the aurora, sadly, but I did get to see the solar eclipse, and it was amazing. Yeah, it's been a great month for sky stuff. Centauratron points out that please try not to commit a crime is a good one. Yeah, that's a good point. Please try not to commit a crime. Yeah, it's always nice when you get booked, and they're like, do you have identification? And they're like, oh, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Please put your fingers on this pad here. Okay, press down firmly and roll. Okay. Yeah, happy birthday. We'll be with you in 6 to 8 hours. Just go wait in there. Bum ba dun 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 dun. Okay. I'm Evie writes. Spent most of the day watching various hermits stream. Jump from Doc to XB. Then Ren. Then Hypno. It seems whenever I have a free day, there's always a hermit to watch, Joe. Well, thanks, I'm Evie, for stopping by. Appreciate it. Let's just grab more blocks. All of these fancy dirts and rocks are gonna be valuable stock for a lot of the hermit shops. La 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 la. La 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 la. Uh-oh. Don't love that. Evie says, you just made me laugh so hard when I realized you were reading my message. Well, I mean, I pretty much nailed your voice, so yeah, I get it. It's pretty funny hearing your own voice coming out of somebody else's mouth. I get it, yeah. Okay, so shovel is basically done. Other pickaxe is basically done. We should use remaining pickaxe to grab some granite for pearl. Let's also grab these blocks before they despawn here. Okay. Da 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 dee 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 da 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 da. La da 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 dee 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 da 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 dee dee da 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 da. In this time of introspection, on the eve of my election, I say to my reflection, God, please spare me more rejection, 'cause my peers, they criticize me, and my ex-wives all despise me. I try to put it all behind me, but my redneck past is nipping at my heels. Araya Thallium says, I spent my day today, my Twitch viewing day today modding and then avoiding modding. Isn't it nice to be able to show up here and know that the stream isn't your problem, Araya Thallium? I like it. I like this place not being other people's problems. It makes me happy knowing that people who work hard, moderating other people's streams, can come here and just chill and go, you know what? This one's not my problem. This one's not my problem. I see a lot of names of people who moderate in other people's chats here. And it's not that they're not moderators here because I don't trust them or anything. They're not moderators here because I think they deserve the night off. Let's see. Araya Thallium says, yes! See? Yay, I'm right. Do-do-do. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. Yeah, for some reason, Ren modded me rather than VIPing me in his chat. And man, the things the auto mod in Ren's chat picks up on, which are a lot of times just people repeating back what Ren just said, like, did he just say this? And then the auto mod's like, that's not acceptable to say. And I'm like, okay, so this is going to cut pretty harshly through here. How are we on our statistics? 964, okay. Not in any immediate peril. I feel like we're going to need to go repair our tools before we start the next chapter. So I'm trying to wear this pickaxe down a little bit before we go. Logan Aris says, I should be sleeping right now, but I got entranced by your singing. Well, you know, I never want my show to be an excuse for people to not go to bed. That's why my theme song, which admittedly we didn't play today, because we don't play music on the Moby Dick streams because of overzealous copyright problems. But that's what my theme song is, Lay Your Head Down and Dream. The summer is past, but your days keep growing longer. There's no wind in your sails, but the storm's blowing stronger. Walking hard, standing tall, keeping your head up through it all. Fighting fires, spinning plates. Goodness, how'd it get so late? Lay your head down and dream. Lay your head down and dream. Let your mind float downstream. Sprawled out in a moonbeam. Lay your head down and dream. The city is bright, but the stars keep growing dimmer. The dishwasher runs, then you find forks from dinner. Closing blinds, charging phones, setting alarms to make their tones. I don't remember the rest of the lyrics to that part. I'm sorry. I don't sing that part very often. But anyway, core concept, we're actually here to wear out the pickaxe, go repair tools, come back, and then read more Moby Dick. That is what we're doing. That is our plan. iMeavy says, I used to help moderate a small Discord server and got so out of hand so fast, I can't even imagine moderating a Twitch chat. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I pay my mods. Even though they're not working most days, I feel like it's a job. It's a job. Smarty Paint says, I've gotten my comments modded so many times from just asking Rendog about stuff he said. Yeah, no, that's the auto mod. That's the auto mod. So when you're in Ren's chat as a moderator, yeah, it's constantly letting you know what the auto mod is held for review. And usually it's just a whole bunch of messages from a whole bunch of people going, wait, did Ren just say this? It's like, yes. That is what just happened. Just let it go. Okay, we need to get a bed over here, too. That's an oversight. We also don't have a, what do you call it? A, ender chest over here. Whoops. Bed's too far away. No. Oriah Thallium. Yeah, 25,000 viewers is a lot. Okay, so this line is going to cut through here. And then come up here. Bum 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 bum. Yeah, da 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 da. Okay, I'm removing a lot of blocks. It's not really fun to do this alone, so I'm hanging out with you. Sometimes when I'm on the phone, I do this as well. I really like to remove a lot of blocks while hanging out with people. Then we all can talk without getting distracted by something complicated like redstone in the sky. Welcome, Amberwood. Yeah, I did have a good show of the Northern Lights last night. It wasn't as amazing as some folks had, but it was barely visible to the naked eye. I got some good long exposure photos, though, because I knew what to look for and how to set up the camera. And I also, at one point, we set up underneath some high voltage, long distance power transmission lines. And we had a really interesting auditory experience because those lines were crackling like wild. I've spent a lot of time like running and hiking and stuff and like on trails that go alongside or underneath those power lines. I've never heard them make noise like this. They were definitely responding to the storm. And I saw reports that in some places the power lines were heating up or whatever. And it's like, I don't know that heat was being generated, but I do know a lot of sound was being generated. They were crackling like a fire. It was wild. Badger Spanner says, can confirm that high voltage power lines respond to solar flares. Hey, I can confirm that too. Good teamwork, Badger Spanner. Double confirmed. Woo! And meanwhile, in the YouTube chat, Hacker Cow says, hello, Joe. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. We're just wearing down this pick so we can go repair it. After we return from the end, we are going to be reading the next chapter of Moby Dick. Merry Christmas, chapter 22. Slazman999 says, I have some amazing photos as I had my security camera set to time-lapse. So, same thing tonight, but I got a better angle. Awesome. Are you getting anything tonight? It looks like it might not be coming down as far south tonight from us here in Tennessee. Central Wisconsin. Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, hopefully you have a great view. We are just, let's go ahead and throw some of these in storage here. Solar flares? Those are from Seoul. Good point. Good point, Centauratron. You know what I need to ask Cub Fan? Is how hard it is to find Seoul. I feel like that's a good ask an astronomer question or ask an astrophysicist. Like, okay, Cub, if you got sent somewhere in the Milky Way galaxy with a device that let you instantly transport yourself anywhere in the galaxy relative to you, but you only had like 3 jumps on it, how could you get back to Seoul? Could you get back to the Seoul system? Like, and what would you look for? What would you orient off of initially? Right? Like, okay, this will get you in the neighborhood, and then you find this, and then you find that. Yeah, and then the last jump would be, you know, to get you home. Like, but like ideally, if you could just, you know, yeah, the goal would be, how many steps would it take somebody who knows what they're doing from anywhere in the Milky Way galaxy to get back to Seoul? What would you look for to orient yourself? Like GeoGuessr, but for space. Yeah, kind of. I bet there are certain, like, landmarks or space marks, if you will, that, like, an astronomer would know to look for, but I wouldn't. And so I'm kind of curious to learn about them. Because that's one of those life skills. Like, you know, most people, I would assume, won't get sent back in time. But, like, if it did happen to you, if you nobody wants to be that guy, right? But if you are accidentally that guy, like, what is the baseline of information you need to not be completely screwed, right? Slazman says, does it have to be on the same plane, or could you jump a few thousand light years above the Milky Way? I was going to say it has to be confined to within the Milky Way, because I feel like it's almost too easy if you can leave the Milky Way, right? If you can, I feel like it's too easy to orient off of other stuff. Okay, so where are we going? Oh yeah, 6 rockets, that's plenty. Hi, guests. Let's go repair all the things. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, before we do this, though, let's fill our inventory with stone so we don't accidentally pick up a bajillion ender pearls. Let's put this in our offhand. But yeah, like if somebody like asked me to describe soul, if they were like, okay, so what kind of star is it? I'd be like, yellow. And they're like, okay, so it radiates light in which bands? Oh boy. Even in our own units, I couldn't answer that, right? The other thing, too, is if I was like, okay, it's a system with 9 planets. Like, okay, are they going to count Ceres as a planet? Are they going to count, like, you know, like, I think, like, I could say, like, okay, it's got a huge gas giant, you know, roughly this distance from the sun, but I couldn't tell you that distance off the top of my head. You know. Neon Wyvern says something unique about the size of our moon compared to the Earth. Yeah. It's got a McDonald's? Pirate Gal says still setting up the stream. Yep, we're repairing our tools. They're not ready yet for the stream. But yeah, I was thinking about this because, like, I'm trying to teach my daughter to pay more attention to, like, where she is and where she's going. Because, like, you know, I'm like, you know, as you get older, you're going to have to navigate more on your own and you need to have these skills. And I'm thinking about it and I'm like, you know what? If I was dropped in a random place in the galaxy, I don't know if I could get home. Even if I had, like, even if somebody gave me a ship that had, like, the ability to blink out and blink back in somewhere else, if it had a limited number of jumps, I don't know that I could easily get home. Slazman says, would you want to, though? I mean, I think it would be of value. It'd be interesting to share that information. But yeah, I kind of feel bad holding my child to a standard where I'm like, you should be able to get home from anywhere in Nashville. But I'm like, I couldn't get home from anywhere in the Milky Way. Dun 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 da da da, la da 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 da, dee 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 da. Dun 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 dun, la da da da, bum 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 bum. Just as a reminder, we're about to start reading chapter 22 of Moby Dick, entitled Merry Christmas. Once we start reading, I won't be acknowledging tips until after the chapter, or at least until we get to a logical break in it. So feel free to get those in now. This is a viewer-supported stream. I couldn't do this without y'all. I think Asuma's in here. What is that guy holding? Oh, he's holding Asuma. That's Asuma himself. With like a pumpkin on his head, I guess. I don't know what this is supposed to be doing. It's not dispensing pumpkins, I'll tell you that. It's his big hat. Okay. A wild Asuma appears in the wild. This stream is supported by viewers like you. Okay, so let's go ahead and we can consolidate this down with our other stuff too. Yeah, let's just consolidate all of this while we're at it. Etho went up in flames. Bang it, water! You had one job. Where are we going? This way. My light was fixed too, right? Yeah, good, good, good. Bum, 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 bum. I ain't happy, I'm feeling bad. I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. Etho fell from a high place after he burned. Oh, Etho never learns, that's okay. It's hermit craft, we're doing it for the laughs, for the laughs, for the laughs. Scar built giraffes. Finally, someone built a train with a zoo. Everybody said, Scar, you know who, should go in there, wow. An elephant now. Scar was like, what? Etho fell again. I don't really know what I'm doing. Just making stuff up as I go. Ba, 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 ba. Is Etho good? Etho's the best. Snake! It's a snake! Ooh, it's a snake! There's another snake too! Etho is apparently being killed by multiple snakes. High frequency testing or death loop? Etho might need our help. I don't want to start reading it until we verify that Etho is not dying. It's fine if he's dying on purpose to test something, but if he's actually stuck, then we should help him. Yeah, we're about to read chapter 22 of Moby Dick, Luis. Luis Belmont, la da 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 da. Ba, ba, ba. Yeah, I'm assuming the snake is part of his Frogger game, but the question is he accidentally testing that, or is he intentionally testing that, right? So we're going to update the Project Gutenberg link here to have chapter 22. He hasn't asked for help yet, so I think we're good. So, yeah, just as a reminder, tips are welcome as we read via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. But keep in mind, we won't... Whoops, that's not the tipping link. That's Project Gutenberg again. Gosh, okay. Super professional streamer. According to my abacus here, we are $10 away from that next face camera expansion milestone, our second face camera expansion milestone. If you enjoy the stream, please consider tipping. I've got a big move coming up, and it's a really helpful time. Bandy BC says, setting up stream, question mark? I think we're actually about ready to take that down, because we're about to read chapter 22. Do. Does a little wiggle now. Okay. Chapter 22 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. Merry Christmas. At length, toward noon, Upon the final dismissal of the ship's riggers, and after the Pequod had been hauled out from the wharf, and after the ever-thoughtful Charity had come off in a whaleboat with her last gift, a nightcap for Stubb, the second mate, her brother-in-law, and a spare Bible for the steward. After all this, the two captains, Peleg and Bildad, issued from the cabin, and turning to the chief mate, Peleg said,
"Now, Mr. Starbuck, are you sure everything is right? Captain Ahab is all ready. Just spoke to him. Nothing more to be got from shore, eh? Well, call all hands then. Muster 'em aft here, blast 'em." "No need of profane words, however great the hurry,"
said Bildad.
"But away with thee, friend Starbuck, and do our bidding."
How now? Here, upon the very point of starting for the voyage, Captain Peleg and Captain Bildad were going it with a high hand on the quarter-deck, just as if they were to be joint commanders at sea, as well as to all appearances in port. And as for Captain Ahab, no sign of him was yet to be seen, only they said he was in the cabin. But then the idea was that his presence was by no means necessary in getting the ship under way and steering her well out to sea. Indeed, as that was not at all his proper business, but the pilot's, and as he was not completely recovered, so they said, therefore, Captain Ahab stayed below. All this seemed natural enough, especially as in the merchant service, many captains never showed themselves on deck for a considerable time after heaving up the anchor, but remain over the cabin table, having a farewell merrymaking with their shore friends, before they quit the ship for good with the pilot. But there was not much chance to think over the matter, for Captain Peleg was now all alive. He seemed to do most of the talking and commanding, and not Bildad.
"Aft here, ye sons of bachelors!"
he cried as the sailors lingered at the mainmast.
"Mr. Starbuck, drive 'em aft."
"Strike the tent there,"
was the next order. As I had hinted before, this whalebone marquee was never pitched except in port, and on board the Pequod for 30 years, the order to strike the tent was well known to be the next thing to heaving up the anchor.
"Man the capstan, blood and thunder, jump,"
was the next command, and the crew sprang for the handspikes. Now, in getting under way, the station generally occupied by the pilot is the forward part of the ship. And here, Bildad, who, with Peleg, be it known, in addition to his other officers, was one of the licensed pilots of the port, he being suspected to have got himself made a pilot in order to save the Nantucket pilot fee for all the ships he be concerned in them, for he never piloted any other craft. Bildad, I say, might now be seen actively engaged in looking over the bows for the approaching anchor, and at intervals singing what seemed a dismal save of psalmody to cheer the hands at the windlass, who roared forth some sort of a chorus about the girls in Booble Alley with hearty goodwill. Nevertheless, not 3 days previous, Bildad had told them that no profane songs would be allowed on board the Pequod, particularly in getting under way, and Charity, his sister, had placed a small choice copy of Watts in each seaman's berth. Meantime, overseeing the other part of the ship, Captain Peleg ripped and swore astern in a most frightful manner. I almost thought he would sink the ship before the anchor could be got up. Involuntarily, I paused on my handspike and told Queequeg to do the same, thinking of the perils we both ran in starting on the voyage with such a devil for a pilot. I was comforting myself, however, with the thought that in pious Bildad might be found some salvation, spite of his 777th lay, when I felt a sudden sharp poke in my rear, and, turning round, was horrified at the apparition of Captain Peleg in the act of withdrawing his leg from my immediate vicinity. That was my first kick.
Is that the way they heave in the merchant service? Spring, thou sheephead, spring, and break thy backbone. Why don't ye spring, I say, all of ye, spring, quahog, spring, thou chap with the whiskers, spring there. Scotch cap, spring, thou in the green cap, spring. All of ye, I say, all of ye, and spring your eyes out.
And so saying, he moved to the windlass, here and there using his leg very freely, while imperturbable Bildad kept leading off with his psalmody. Thinks I, Captain Peleg must have been drinking something today. At last, the anchor was up, the sails were set, and off we glided. It was a short, cold Christmas, and as the short northern day merged into night, we found ourselves almost broad upon the wintry ocean, whose freezing spray cased us in ice, as if in polished armor. The long rows of teeth on the bulwarks glistened in the moonlight, and, like the white ivory tusks of the huge elephant, vast curving icicles depended from the bows. Lank Bildad, as pilot, headed the first watch, and ever and anon, as the old craft deep-dived into the green seas, and sent the shivering frost all over her, and the winds howled, and the cordage rang, his steady notes were heard.
Swift fields beyond the swelling flood stand dressed in living green. So the Jews in old Canaan stood, while Jordan rolled in between.
Never did those sweet words sound more sweetly to me than then. They were full of hope and fruition. Spite of this frigid winter night in the boisterous Atlantic, spite of my wet feet and wetter jacket, there was yet, it then seemed to me, many a pleasant haven in store, and meads and glades so eternally vernal that the grass shot up by the spring, untrodden, unwilted, remains at midsummer. At last we gained such an offing that the two pilots were needed no longer. The stout sailboat that had accompanied us began ranging alongside. It was curious and not unpleasing how Peleg and Bildad were affected at this juncture, especially Captain Bildad, for loath to depart, yet very loath to leave, for good, a ship bound on so long and perilous a voyage, beyond both stormy capes, a ship on which some thousands of his hard-earned dollars were invested, a ship in which an old shipmate sailed as a captain, a man almost as old as he, once more starting to encounter all the terrors of the pitiless jaw, loath to say goodbye to a thing so every way brimful of every interest to him. Poor old Bildad lingered long, paced the decks with anxious strides, ran down into the cabin to speak another farewell word there, again came on deck, and looked to windward, looked toward the wide and endless waters, only bounded by the far-off, unseen eastern continents, looked toward the land, looked aloft, looked right and left, looked everywhere and nowhere, and at last, mechanically coiling up a rope upon its pin, convulsively grasped stout Peleg by the hand, and, holding up a lantern, for a moment stood gazing heroically in his face, as much to say,
Nevertheless, friend Peleg, I can stand it. Yes, I can.
As for Peleg himself, he took it more like a philosopher. But for all his philosophy, there was a tear in his twinkling in his eye when the lantern came too near, and he too did not a little run from cabin to deck, now a word below, now a word with Starbuck, the chief mate. But at last he turned to his comrade, with a final sort of look about him.
Captain Bildad, come. Old shipmate, now we must go. Back the mainyard there. Boy, say your last. Luck to ye, Starbuck. Luck to ye, Mr. Stubb. Luck to ye, Mr. Flask. Goodbye, and good luck to all. And this day, 3 years, I'll have a hot supper smoking for ye in old Nantucket. Hurrah, and away. God bless ye, and have ye in his holy keeping, men,
Murmured old Bildad, almost incoherently.
I hope you'll have a fine weather now, so Captain Ahab may soon be moving among you. A pleasant sun is all he needs, and you'll have plenty of that in a tropic voyage ye go. Be careful in the hunts, ye mates. Don't stave the boats needlessly, ye harpooners. Good white cedar plank is raised there, full 3% within the year. Don't forget your prayers either. Mr. Starbuck, mind that Cooper. Don't waste the spare staves. Oh, the sail needles are in the green locker. Don't whale it too much a Lord's days, men. But don't miss a fair chance either. That's rejecting heaven's good gifts. Have an eye to the molasses tears, Mr. Stubb. It was a little leaky, I thought. If ye touch the islands, Mr. Flask, beware of fortification. Goodbye. Goodbye. Don't keep that cheese too long down in the hold, Mr. Starbuck. It'll spoil. Be careful with the butter. 20 cents the pound it was. And mind ye, if... Come back, Captain Bildad. Stop palavering. Away!
And with that, Peleg hurried him over the side, and both dropped into the boat. Ship and boat diverged. The cold, damp night breeze blew between them. A screaming gull flew overhead. The two hulls wildly rolled. We gave 3 heavy-hearted cheers, and blindly plunged, like fate, into the lone Atlantic. And thus concludes Chapter 22 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. Centauratron asks in the Discord, the girls in Booble Alley. You know, I didn't name the alley. That's, you know, that's either a real place in Nantucket or that's just Melville having fun. Hey, we got a tip rolling in. Let's see who it's from. It's from Rachel, who says, thanks for the background noise. I do what I can. Rachel, thank you very much for the 6. That puts us 4 away from the next Phase Camera expansion milestone. And it's time to say good evening to B-Dubs. Evening, B-Dubs. Good evening, B-Dubs. We are just about to plant some blocks in chests. Let's go. La da 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 da. Da 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 da. Gusty Gale says it's a whale. Of a tale that's an accurate assessment in my book, Gusty Gale. You got it right. We don't need to fight about your assessment. Louis Kantrowitz says, man, I hope everything goes super well as they sail on the Atlantic. I mean, what could go wrong? But hey, let me go ahead and post a quick link if you're curious about what the ship looks like, here is a link to Evan Dom's illustration of the Pequod. He's done some fantastic images of this ship. He's an amazing illustrator. Very talented. He's the reason I started reading this book in the first place. Why whale no eat boat? Oh, good. I don't have to go run to the bed. I was like, I realized as soon as B-Dubs logged on, I was like, oh, B-Dubs reminds me that I forgot to put the bed in. But I don't need it now that B-Dubs is here. Hey, EC, glad you could join us for the stream. This is kind of a weird one. Saturday nights, we do grinding stuff on the Hermitcraft server while we read Moby Dick. Last season, we read Dracula. This season, we're reading Moby Dick. Doesn't make sense to do the same book both times. You know, that's how we do. Okay. Let's go ahead and... Okay, where are we? So... Chapter 23. How long is this chapter? We're only... This is not a long chapter. So let me go ahead and write Moby Dick CH23. And I'm going to post a link in each chat here and pin that. But yeah, what do y'all think of these chapters? Anything jump out at y'all? They're really drawing out the introduction of Ahab. Part where he sat on a sleeping guy was weird. Yeah! Different cultures, am I right? Gusty Gale says, the
Ye sons of bachelors!
part made me laugh. Yeah. Maroney says, is Ahab even real? I mean, you know, you could ask the same of Zaphod Beeblebrox. You know, he's just this guy, you know. Dark Kitty says, normally I would not listen to people read books, but you make it fun and interesting. Thank you. Yeah, it's different, I think, listening to the voices of people you are familiar with read to you. There's a YouTuber that I used to watch years ago, and he started writing his own books and doing books on tape. And it was really interesting to me listening to his books on tape because it didn't feel the same as hearing like Ray Porter read a book, right? Like I've listened to a lot of books that Ray Porter has read. Ray Porter is an incredible audiobook narrator. Let me see if I can pull up a list of like, because audiobooks narrated by Ray Porter. Okay. He's done the Bobaverse books, Project Hail Mary by Andy Ware. I feel like he's done a bunch of other stuff I've read too. 20 items per page? No, there's 22 pages of audio. He's done 433 audiobooks, okay? I haven't listened to all 433 of his audiobooks. But can I sort these by popularity or something to figure? It is sorted by popularity. Sorted by... Okay. I had no idea he had done 433 audiobooks. He's really good though, so I believe it. But I knew him from like the Bobaverse and Project Hail Mary, but like the thing is like when I see a book I'm on the fence on as an audiobook. I'm like, I don't know if I want to listen to that. And I see certain names like Ray Porter. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll listen to that, right? Who did the audio? Jefferson Mays did the Expanse audiobook. He's really good too. You know, there's just some people who do a great job reading audiobooks, and that's cool. But like, the thing is, I only know them from those audiobooks, right? So, as much as I love a good Jefferson Mays or Ray Porter audiobook, when I was listening to the Jack McKeown trilogy by Benjamin Crawshaw, it was one of those things where hearing Crawshaw read it himself was really different, because I had been listening to his YouTube videos since like 2005 or so. But like his YouTube videos were like 4 minutes long, because back then, no way YouTube was around in 2005. No, it must have been 2000. Let's see. 2007. Yeah. Okay. 2007. That's more reasonable. But yeah, anyway, it's kind of one of those things where like, you know, like the fact that like I didn't know this guy for reading audiobooks, but now I was listening to an audiobook. Yeah, he writes science fiction books. So the Jack McKeown trilogy is kind of like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy-ish. I just finished the entire trilogy recently because I've been thinking a lot about how I read books, and I thought listening to a books trilogy by a YouTuber that I was familiar with would kind of help me make a better experience for you guys. I don't know if it's working because I haven't had time to practice all the things I learned, but I'm going to be practicing them moving forward as we go through Moby Dick, right? But yeah, the premise of the Jack McKeown trilogy is that there's a guy who is like he's a star pilot. Whoa. These guys just spawn in? Right there. Right there in front of you. They just spawn in. Wow, okay. Was not expecting that. I don't think I have any of this stuff anyway, so it's fine. I think Ren said he liked the diorite. I might go get him some as a present. But anyway, so the premise of the Jack McKeown novels is that there's this guy who's like kind of an underemployed star pilot. Like the golden age of star piloting is behind everyone because there's quantum tunnels now where you can basically walk from any space station to another through like a Stargate. And so all of these guys who used to make a living, you know, taming the black, you know, the void, going to the outer reaches of space and, you know, dodging pirates and doing all this fun stuff. They're all kind of like now like, you know, underemployed tour guides because like other than like seeing a planet from space, there's no reason to like spend money on a spaceship when you can just walk everywhere, right? Basically, as an avowed pedestrian, I'm very happy that I would love to be able to walk from my apartment to Ursa Minor. You know, well, not like the star itself, but like something of note in orbit. But you know what I'm saying. But basically, so the idea is that the main character is this underemployed star pilot who's now working as a tour guide, and he gets offered a gig. What's wrong? What? Okay. So we got that. Ren will be happy about that. So anyway, so he gets a gig pretending to be a famously reclusive author who writes about star pilots named Jack McKeown. The idea is there's this guy like named Jack McKeown who's written 30 books about star piloting and the glory days of the star pilots, but nobody knows who he is. And so the protagonist of the book gets dragged into this massive web of intrigue with what starts. It's supposed to be like, oh, hey, just come to this dinner and tell this rich person that you're Jack McCune. And honestly, because nobody knows who Jack McCune is, you know, you're a real star pilot. You can talk enough about going into space. They'll believe you, right? So it starts off as like a basic con artist type gig where you go to dinner and you lie to a rich person, but it ends up kind of spiraling out of control from there. And like I said, it's kind of broadly Hitchhiker's Guide-esque. Like, the guy is not quite, like, Arthur Dent levels of incompetent, because, you know, he is, like, a, you know, space hero, but he's a space hero from, like, an era before, you know? He's never worked with a new ship, he's never had to deal with, like, a lot of modern problems. It's pretty funny. I think it's worth checking out. But yeah, just seeing how he reads his audio, how he reads his own books versus how he narrates or reads his own scripts on YouTube versus how he talks on live streams. I was just like, this is an interesting thing for me to study and be aware of. T-Lug says, Jim Dale is another one of those audiobook narrators for me. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with him. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, he did The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. Wait, no, he didn't. That was Michael Kramer. Why is that showing up in a search for Jim Dale? That's weird. That's very strange. I don't know why that would show up. Good job, searches. Yeah, Michael Kramer's really good. I didn't know there was an American Harry Potter. I thought it's about a British kid. See, that's the thing, like with The Office, they're just taking everything and remaking it these days. Okay. Centauratron says, I'll be back shortly, off for a quick stroll to the ISS. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, I mean, obviously, if you can do Stargates, why would you not do Stargates? That's kind of the underlying premise of this, is like, what happens to the economy of all the pilots when Stargates are invented? And it's a pretty interesting setup. We're out of range of the beacon here. Okay. We're going to have to move the other one from... I was going to move the other one from over back... Oh, we're out of rockets soon, too. Let's go get our rockets. Okay. Mind of Me says, the premise reminds me of the terrible Mr. Ripley. Oh, is that also an American remake of a British thing? I'm not familiar with the talented Mr. Ripley at all. It's not really a running gag with the exploding rockets. It's a flying gag! Bum, bum, bum. Okay. Flight duration 3, small ball cyan. Here we go. I think I cleared enough of this out that we can go grab this. Oh, we need to actually clear out the stone at the ground level now that I'm looking at it, and then we'll grab that beacon. Okay. We might as well read Chapter 23, The Lee Shore. Before I get started, just as a reminder, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. We are currently only $4 away from the next Face Gamer expansion milestone. If you're enjoying the reading, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Are we using explosive rockets? Oh yeah, exclusively. Cubfan has the best explosive rocket shop on the server. So. Matt Kimball says, I'm not sure if I'm more impressed at the sheer size of this project or the fact you decided to build it angled and not square to the world. I mean, I wanted north to be north, you know? Like, when I go visit this place, I want it to feel right when the sun comes up. Or sets, more likely. I'm unlikely to visit this place that early in the morning. Okay. Transit bikers and Stargates are fine for people, but I'm not sure about cargo. I mean, you gotta keep in mind that the Stargates in the original show Stargate are big enough to drive a train through. Like, you can fit a lot of cargo on a train. The Atlantis Stargates are smaller, I think. And then I think the Destiny, is it Stargate Destiny? Ones were smaller still. But the original Stargates were pretty big. And those are closer in size to what they've got in this Jack McKeown book. I don't think there were trains in the original Stargate, but they were big enough to fly. They were big enough to drive a train through. They were large. They were big enough for the puddle jumpers from Atlantis. Yeah, puddle jumpers about the size of a train engine. Okay. So here we go. Chapter 23, The Lee Shore. Some chapters back, one Bulkington was spoke of, a tall, new-landed mariner encountered in New Bedford at the inn. When on that shivering winter's night, the Pequod thrust her vindictive bows into the cold malicious waves, who should I see at her helm but Bulkington? I looked with sympathetic awe and fearfulness upon the man, who in midwinter, just landed from a 4 years' dangerous voyage, could so unrestingly push off again for still another tempestuous term. The land seemed scorching to his feet. Wonderfulest things are ever the unmentionable. Deep memories yield no epitaphs. This 6-inch chapter is the stoneless grave of Bulkington. Let me only say that it fared with him as with the storm-tossed ship that miserably drives along the leeward land. The port would fain give succor. The port is pitiful. In the port is safety, comfort, hearthstone, supper, warm blankets. Friends, all that's kind to our mortalities. But in the gale, the port, the land, is that ship's direst jeopardy. She must fly all hospitality. One touch of land, though it but graze the keel, would make her shudder through and through. With all her might, she crowds all sail offshore. In so doing, fights against the very winds that fain would blow her homeward, seeks all the lashed seas landlessness again. For refuge's sake, forlornly rushing into peril, her only friend, her bitterest foe. Know ye now, Bulkington? Glimpses do ye seem to see of that mortally intolerable truth, that all deep, earnest thinking is but the intrepid effort of the soul to keep open independence of her sea. While the wildest winds of heaven and earth conspire to cast on her the treacherous slavish shore. But in landlessness alone resides highest truth, so shoreless and definite as God, so better is it to perish in that howling infinite than be ingloriously dashed upon the lee, even if that were safety. For the worm-like then, oh, who would craven crawl to land? Terrors of the terrible. Is all this agony so vain? Take heart, O Bulkington. Bear thee grimly, demigod. Up from the spray of thy ocean perishing, straight ups leaps thy apotheosis. And that concludes chapter 23 of Herman Melville's Moby Dick, or The Whale. That is a very short chapter. A little bit foreboding. Just a tad. Oh, this is going to be a whole thing under here, isn't it? All of these things are going to slip away from me. Oh, no. Hadn't thought that through. Okay. Okay, we're definitely going to have to just go get some extra iron, because there's no way we're going to actually gather all of this on the fly. Let's go ahead and put this bed over here for now. Yep, chapters in this book are very uneven in length. That's okay, too. If you're enjoying the show, we are only $4 away from our next face camera expansion milestone, and tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. We are currently relocating that beacon there back toward where we've been working otherwise. We're going to lose our haste too soon, so we need to make short work of it. Poor beacon powering down. Beacons break so slowly. Wow. Did we bring extra blocks over here with us to fix the ground? Maybe not. Didn't think that through. Chloe the Great and Powerful Tippin 14 says, yay for literature. That is going to get us 10 past our next face camera expansion milestone. Thank you very much, Chloe the Great and Powerful. Please direct your attention down here to the lower left so I can say, expand Joe. Doo -doo -doo -doo. Yay. So we are hanging out here, knocking out blocks while we talk. Thank you, Chloe the Great and Powerful. Luckily, there's no dolphins in the cold water, like, make these go everywhere. That's better than where we were last season, at least. Welcome, Lemon Tree. Glad you could join us. I see Siri asks, what are we building this season? I've got a link to what we're building. Here it is, what we're building. This is the Bell Laboratories Research and Development Campus from Holmdel, New Jersey, in Monmouth County, New Jersey. Asterism Threefold says, I came across Evan Dom's work in another context the other day, and it was fun to think, hey, I know that name. Oh yeah, Evan Dom does all sorts of stuff, not just weird Moby Dick illustrations. Let's see here. So, 64. I think it's supposed to be 36. I think somewhere we're missing an iron here, but we might not find it, depending on... Yeah, we might just have to accept that we're going to have to go get another iron block from somewhere else. That's fine. Ard Nateo says, I love how your camera dissolves into the background. Thank you. Centauratron writes, Joe puts the lit in literature. Well, thank you as well, Centauratron. Okay, so I feel like we had left some extra iron. There's some ingots. Do we have some in here? Deep slate iron or... No. Okay, well, we can just cook a little bit more. Makes as much sense as anything else we're doing today. Just double check it and make sure we didn't lose any. Yeah, we're gonna just have to cook some. Or real quick. Yeah, we didn't leave any in here before. Dang it. Bum 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 bum. Just waiting on stuff to smelt. I'm a puppet made of felt. Well, 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 well. We got another block of iron now. Okay, so for us to head back that way, go over here, and... Da 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 da. Do 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 do. Okay, so let's we got to get our alignment here. So we're at 19. So this is 706. No, 704. So I think we need to go to 804. Okay, and we're going to maybe push a little bit past that because I don't want this to be cutting into the road there. Well, let's real quick check on the road there. So if we go to 804. Oh, wow, we're not as far along as I thought we were. Is that right? 804, negative 1855. Something's wrong with my map. Hold on. If we go to 798 here. 798. $18.92. I actually think it's supposed to be further this way. Well, that's something. That must have been just a rough estimate. And that makes more sense following there from there. We might need to double check a few of these points. The short version, though, is... Oh, wait. No, I'm on the wrong side. Oh, that's why. I'm on the... Oh, because the East Entrance Road... Oh, wait. No, I'm on the wrong side. I'm on the wrong side of the road. Badger Spanner writes, the center of this map looks like Johnny Bravo, and I'll never be able to unsee it. That's fair. Okay. So, yeah, the road is... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So... if we go this far and then just chop down these trees, we are going to be, like, actively in the middle of this East Entrance Road if we're not careful. Which isn't great. Let's go get some actual markers so we can do this right. Let's check on the space weather live as well, real quick. Looks like some of the northern parts of the United States might actually have an aurora right now. If anybody is like up Wisconsin, Minnesota way, if you want to go look outside and come tell us what you see. Looks like the auroral oval is a little bit south at the moment. Okay. Where are we doing? We are grabbing more of those, what do you call them? Bird frog eye. Wrong pickaxe. Okay. Lemon Tree says it's cloudy where I am, unfortunately in Ontario. Oh, sorry to hear that. Not great. I feel like I had... Oh, looks like we already pulled verdant frog lights out of here. Let's maybe grab some of these, though. And real quick, run over this way. Neon Wyvern and El Bubbly say yes, same. Sorry to hear that, guys. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. La da 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 da. Tuberculosis Belsina says, hi, what are you doing? We are working on building a large-scale model, well, a one-to-one scale model, really, of the Bell Laboratories Research and Development Center in Homedale, New Jersey. Let me post the what we're building link so you can see a map and make your own determinations about whether or not this is of interest to you. Okay. A lot of flying around on this project. I need to be better at putting ender chests in every single one of these beacons. Oh, well. One day. One day. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Da 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 da. Okay. Alrighty. So we are going to go ahead and take some of these verdant frog lights here, and we are going to kind of mark the road a little bit better along here so we know roughly where it's going to end up. Oh, because we haven't placed our beacon. I was going to say, let's dig this out so we can... No, that's why we need to mark the road, so we know where the beacon can safely go. Right now we don't know that. Okay. Guessing we can harvest this tree at least. And maybe go back as far as these. Just to be safe. Boom, 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 ba-dum, dum. Okay. I love that little snowfall noise. Okay. So, zooming back in on our map here. We are going to be over in this region. Okay, so if we go to 806 negative 1887. Okay, so that's how far out this road goes. Or 1806, 1887. That's going to run to there. And then it's going to arc that way. To 824, 1889. Oh, wait. 1889 is going to be here. Okay, so that's going to branch off from that there. And then it's going to continue to arc this way a good ways alongside there. Okay. Until it hits here, 835, which is where we're at, and then negative 1888. Okay. $844, 1886. Actually, 1887. Yeah, there we go. This is nice when the road naturally kind of follows the creek here, so we don't have to do a lot of digging. But definitely our beacon is not going to be in the way of this. Okay, 851, negative 1884. Evening, Cub. Okay, and then we're going to go down here. I forget if I greeted Cub earlier. I don't think I did. I don't want to seem obnoxious. Unintentionally. I only want to be obnoxious intentionally. Negative 1880. Or in 1879, actually. Which is going to be... Oh, Scar joined the game. Even in Scar. Scar always likes to be greeted. Oh, this is beautiful. This road just naturally following this creek. That's going to save me so much work. I'm very happy about this. 868. 1873. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Hey, Nope Queen, it's going really well. We started marking out where this road's going to go, and it generally seems to be going along this creek. And so I don't have to worry about it. That's one less thing to stress about. So the reason we were figuring out where that road went was so we can make sure that if we put a, what do you call it? A beacon in this part here, it wouldn't be a problem. Which it won't be. So we're going to go ahead and clear that out now. We just want a beacon, beacon all the time. We just want a beacon, beacon while we rhyme. La da 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 da. Dang it, that's a tall tree. There we go. Okay. So, here we go. We've got room now, you know, for a beacon. For sleeping upon... Oh, we didn't bring the bed. For a beacon, not for sleeping upon. Yard. Ego Jordy, thank you for the raid. Appreciate you. We are here on the Hermitcraft Season 10 server. It is Saturday. We got BOO, Cub Fan, Etho, Good Times with Scar, me. Meanwhile, Sleepy Doc and Asuma over there in, I was going to say the Eastern Hemisphere. I don't know which side of the Prime Meridian. We could probably safely assume that they're over there in the Eastern Hemisphere. Welcome, Groovy, as well, coming over with the raid. If you look at the upper left, we are working on a implementation of a model of this map here. I will post the what we're building link if you would like to look at this map yourself and see what I am manufacturing today, which is a 1-to-1 scale model of the Bell Laboratories Research and Development Facility in Homedale, New Jersey. We got a lot of roads going in the Belt Road along there. Clearing this out. I need to go get a bed and move it over here, though. We don't have a bed this way. Amethyst Whisper says, I just checked outside. The sky was slightly green and purple, but it was mostly covered with clouds. That's cool. I'm glad you got to see something at least. Yep. Some parts of the world have an amazing aurora right now, so I hope that if you do, you take a break and go outside and enjoy it. You can learn more about the current space weather at spaceweatherlive.com. They are not a sponsor. This is just what I've been using. Doc is definitely east of the Prime Meridian, but I don't know about Asuma. I would assume so, but I don't know. But yeah, when I visited England, that was my first time in the Eastern Hemisphere. Okay. Sandgirl says, drove out to see the lights yesterday. Thanks for the heads up, Joe. Hey, I'm so glad. Glad you had that opportunity. Okay, so we're going to swing through here. We're going to set up our beacon in such a way that it's not going to be crossing that. Okay. Part of me wants to really just get this further, as far further over as I can, but that's probably a mistake. Should just leave this on the outside here. Okay, let's just back it off a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope Queen says, I'm in the suburbs. Light pollution was horrendous. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Nope Queen. Okay, if this is the center, then then we're going to come up like that, and then like that. Cool. Okay. So this is going well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, that aligns properly. So we are, as we do every Saturday, reading from Moby Dick while we do some mindless work here on Hermitcraft. We're going to be reading our last chapter of the night, The Advocate, chapter 24, in a little bit. I got to finish getting this beacon in, because this is too thoughtful to read while doing. You gotta have the low mental overhead grinding tasks for this sort of thing. Okay. So we can put that there. We can put the bed there. And we are going to grab that, and we're going to make one of these. Okay. So now we also need to make some chests. Oh, and a stone cutter. So let's go ahead and drop this in here and get haste on everything. Ken Dreadful says, just lurking and enjoying the reading tonight. Hey, glad to hear it, Ken Dreadful. Okay. So, let's see here. Ego Jordy says, got back, nothing in the sky tonight. It was bright purple last night, though. Got what we could, at least. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, with this sort of thing, like, we're lucky to have anything, honestly. It's kind of a huge surprise that it happened at all. So that's cool when it does happen. Okay, so, oh yeah, we need to make chests. Cub, you around? I'm assuming so. Cub fan, the fan of all the Cubs, firing fireworks. Everybody loves Cub fan. Cub fan. Oh, am I in an isolated group? I guess yeah. Oh. Let me leave my isolated group, Cub. Can you hear me now? I'm assuming you're here. Maybe he just flew by and shot some fireworks. That's okay, too. That's all right. Cub stopping by at night. Yeah, Cub fan. Woohoo. Okay, so we're just going to drop some of these here. And hey, Pizza, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Okay, get some gravel in here. Okay, and then we'll get some grass over on this side. Okay. Whoops, not doing great there. Ken Dreadful says, I've been really looking forward to these Moby Dick streams every week. Thank you, Ken Dreadful. I really cherish the time chat spends together talking about how weird Ishmael is. I'm so pleased, yeah. So we're going to just empty some of the surplus out of our inventory here. Gravel's going down here. Okay. So now that we've done that, we can actually start clearing this. And that should maintain our haste all the way through here. So we can just punch this hole clear through here. Yeah. Let me figure out where we would want to have the points over here. Okay. So we are currently at 784. Which is where? Here, 784. Whoops. Negative 1880. Okay, so that would be here. Are we in recording mode? We were, because I thought Cub was going to talk to us, but then he didn't. So yeah, let's switch back out of recording mode. Thank you for reminding me. Don't need to fill the hard disk unnecessarily. Okay. So yeah, we're going to clear out this way. We need to update our pinned link. We are reading... Whoa, that's all caps. We are reading Moby Dick CH24. Post the new link. Post the new link there. Post the new link here. Okay. And, oh, gotta pin them. Pin the message. Pin the message. La da 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 da. Dun 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 dun. And just as a reminder, we are $10 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. We will not be reading tip messages in the middle of the chapter unless I hit like a logical breaking point for that. Anyway, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Once again, 10 away from that next face camera expansion milestone. So, Chapter 24 of Moby Dick by Herman Melville. The Advocate. As Queequeg and I now are fairly embarked in this business of whaling, and as this business of whaling has somehow come to be regarded among landsmen as a rather unpoetical and disreputable pursuit, therefore I am all anxiety to convince ye landsmen, of the injustice hereby done to us hunters of whales. In the first place, it may be deemed almost superfluous to establish the fact that among people at large, the business of whaling is not accounted on a level with what are called the liberal professions. If a stranger were introduced into any miscellaneous metropolitan society, it would but slightly advance the general opinion of his merits were he presented to the company as a harpooneer. Say, and if in emulation of the naval officers he should append the initials SWF, sperm whale fishery, to his visiting card, such a procedure would be deemed preeminently presuming and ridiculous. Doubtless, one leading reason why the world declines honoring us whalemen is they think that, at best, our vocation amounts to a butchering sort of business, and that when actively engaged therein, we are surrounded by all manner of defilements. Butchers we are, that is true. But butchers also, and butchers of the bloodiest badge, have been all martial commanders whom the world invariably delights to honor. And as for the matter of the alleged uncleanliness of our business, ye shall soon be initiated into certain facts hitherto pretty generally unknown, and which upon the whole will triumphantly plant the sperm whale ship, at least, among the cleanliest things of this tidy earth. But even granting the charge in question to be true, what disordered slippery decks of a whale ship are comparable to the unspeakable carrion of those battlefields from which so many soldiers return to drink in the ladies' plaudits? And if the idea of peril so much enhances the popular conceit of the soldier's profession, let me assure ye that many a veteran who has freely marched up to a battery would recoil at the apparition of the sperm whale's vast tail, fanning into eddies the air o'er his head. For what are the comprehensible terrors of man compared with the interlinked terrors and wonders of God? But though the world scouts at us whale hunters Yet it does unwittingly pay us the profoundest homage, yea, and all abounding adoration. For almost all the tapers, lamps, and candles that burn round the globe burn as if before so many shrines to our glory. But look at this manner in other lights. Weigh it in all sorts of scales. See what we whalemen are and what we have been. Why did the Dutch in De Witt's time have admirals of their whaling fleets? Why did Louis XVI of France, at his own personal expense, fit out whaling ships from Dunkirk and politely invite to that town some score or two of families from our own island of Nantucket? Why did Britain, between the years 1750 and 1788, pay to her whalemen in bounties upwards of £1,000? And lastly, how comes it that we whalemen of America now outnumber all banded whalemen in the world, sail a navy of upwards of 700 vessels, manned by 18,000 men, yearly consuming $4 million, the ship's worth at the time of sailing $20 million, and every year importing into our harbors a well-reaped harvest of $7 million. How comes all this if there be not something puissant in whaling? But this is not the half. Look again. I freely assert that the cosmopolite philosopher cannot, for his life, point out one single peaceful influence which, within the last 60 years, has operated more broadly, more potentially upon the whole broad world, taken in one aggregate, than the high and mighty business of whaling. One way and another, it has begotten events so remarkable in themselves and so contiguously momentous in their sequential issues that whaling may well be regarded as that Egyptian mother who bore offspring, themselves pregnant from her womb. It would be a hopeless, endless task to catalogue all these things. Let a handful suffice. For many years past, the whale ship has been the pioneer in ferreting out the remotest and least known parts of the earth. She has explored seas and archipelagos which had no chart, where no Cook or Vancouver had ever sailed. If American and European men of war now peacefully ride in once savage harbors, let them fire salutes to the honor and glory of the whale ship which originally showed them the way, and first interpreted between them and the savages. They may celebrate as they will the heroes of the exploring expeditions, your Cooks, your Krusensterns. But I say that scores of anonymous captains have sailed out of Nantucket that were as great and greater than your Cook and your Krusenstern. For in their succorless empty-handedness, they, in the heathenish sharked waters and by the beaches of unrecorded Javelin Islands, battled with virgin wonders and terrors that Cook, with all his marines and muskets, would not willingly have dared. All that is made such a flourish in the old South Sea voyages, those things were but the lifetime commonplaces of our heroic Nantucketers. Often adventures which Vancouver dedicates 3 chapters to, these men accounted unworthy of being set down in the ship's log. Ah, the world. Oh, the world. Until the whale fishery rounded Cape Horn, no commerce but colonial, scarcely any intercourse but colonial, was carried on between Europe and the long line of the opulent Spanish provinces on the Pacific coast. It was the whalemen who first broke through the jealous policy of the Spanish crown, touching those colonies, and, if space permitted, it might distinctly be shown how from those whalemen at last eventuated the liberation of Peru, Chile, and Bolivia from the yoke of old Spain, and the establishment of the eternal democracy in those parts. That great America on the other side of the sphere, Australia, was given to the enlightened world by the whalemen. After its first blunder-born discovery by a Dutchman, all other ships long shunned those shores as pestiferously barbarous. But the whale ship touched there. The whale ship is the true mother of that now mighty colony. Moreover, in the infancy of the first Australian settlement, the emigrants were several times saved from starvation by the benevolent biscuit of the whale ship, luckily dropping an anchor in their waters. The uncounted isles of all Polynesia confess the same truth, and do commercial homage to the whale ship that cleared the way for the missionary and the merchant, and in many cases carried the primitive missionaries to their first destinations. If that double-bolted land, Japan, is ever to become hospitable, it is the whale ship to whom the credit will be due, for already she is on the threshold. But if in the face of all this you still declare that whaling has no aesthetically noble associations connected with it, then I am ready to shiver 50 lances with you there and unhorse you with a split helmet every time. The whale has no famous author, and whaling no famous chronicler, you will say. The whale no famous author, and whaling no famous chronicler? Who wrote the first account of our Leviathan? Who but mighty Job? And who composed the first narrative of a whaling voyage? Who but no less a prince than Alfred the Great, who with his own royal pen took down the words from Other, the Norwegian whale hunter of the times? And who pronounced our glowing eulogy in Parliament? Who but Edmund Burke?
True enough then. But whalemen are, poor devils. They have no good blood in their veins.
No good blood in their veins? They have something better than royal blood there. The grandmother of Benjamin Franklin was Mary Morrill, afterwards by marriage Maury Folger, one of the old settlers of Nantucket, and the ancestress to a long line of Folgers and harpooneers, all kith and kin to noble Benjamin. This day, darting the barbed iron from one side of the world to another.
Good again, but then I'll confess that somehow whaling is not respectable.
Whaling is not respectable. Whaling is imperial. By Old English statutory law, the whale is declared a royal fish.
But that's only nominal. The whale himself has never figured in any grand, imposing way.
The whale never figured in any grand, imposing way in one of the mighty triumphs given to a Roman general upon his entering the world's capital. The bones of a whale, brought all the way from the Syrian coast, were the most conspicuous objects in that symboled profession. See subsequent chapters for something more on this head.
Granted, since you cite it, but say what you will, there's no real dignity in whaling.
No dignity in whaling? The dignity of our calling, the very heavens attest. Cetus is a constellation in the south. No more drive down your hat in the presence of the Tsar and take it off to Queequeg. No more. I know a man that in his lifetime has taken 350 whales. I account that man more honorable than the great captain of antiquity who boasted of taken as many walled towns. And as for me, if by any possibility there be any as yet undiscovered prime thing in me, if I shall ever deserve any real repute in that small but high-hushed world, which I might not be unreasonably ambitious of, if hereafter I shall do anything that, upon the whole, a man might have rather done than to have left undone, if at my death my executors, or more properly my creditors, find any precious MSS in my desk, then here I prospectively ascribe all the honor and glory to whaling, for a whale ship was my Yale College and my Harvard. Thus concludes Chapter 24, The Advocate of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. If you are enjoying this reading, we are only $10 away from that next face camera expansion milestone. Pickett2 points out whaling is basically his whole personality now. And El Bubbly says he's basically having a shower argument. Like when you imagine someone arguing with you and you're coming up with comebacks in the shower. Yeah. I'd like to point out that whaling is his whole personality now, and he has been at sea at this point in the Chronicle for less than a day. They have barely navigated out of the port. And they haven't met the captain, and he's already like, oh, let me tell you about my whaling days. I know all about whaling. Okay, Doc M left the game. Good night, Doc M. And your 76 brethren. Okay. So we're just going to free up some inventory space here. I'll free that up too. Okay. El Bubbly says he tried a new hobby for less than 48 hours, and it's his whole soul now. Yeah, basically, right? Oh, yeah. Chloe the Great and Powerful says, the tangent went on so long, I forgot what started him on it. Great question. So at the beginning of the chapter, the advocate, he says, as Queequeg and I are now fairly embarked in this business of whaling, and as this business of whaling has somehow come to be regarded among landsmen as a rather unpoetical and disreputable pursuit, therefore I am all anxiety to convince ye landsmen, of the injustice hereby done to us hunters of whales. Basically, he's just like, before I go any further, I want to make sure you understand how cool this is. Because this is really cool, you guys. Don't treat it like it's not cool, because we're doing this. This is what we're doing. We're doing it, and it's cool, and it's awesome, and you guys need to listen up. Okay, it's a really big deal. Even if you don't believe me, it's a big deal, you guys. There's no particular incident that leads him onto this tangent. He just realized, like, oh, hey, while I'm telling the story, you might not be taking me seriously, so I just need to reiterate that this is serious stuff. Ken Dreadful says, this is what happened with me with Minecraft. And El Bubbly says, mood, I ridicule Ishmael because I am Ishmael. Do 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 do. Bum 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 bum. He is anticipating the hecklers. Yep. It's kind of amazing he waited this long to explain this. He's been holding this in for like 23 chapters. And now it just has nowhere else to go but onto the page. Ken Dreadful says, this is exactly how I describe Neopets to people. That's fair. Yeah, Queequeg wasn't using anyone as furniture at the time, so he had nothing else to write about. But like, I like how he opened the book by talking about how he decided to go whaling because everybody on land sucks. And then he's like, but also whaling is cool. It's not just that you suck, but also whaling is great. It's even a starker contrast than you might realize. Like I said, he's the Holden Caulfield of whaling. Okay. I don't think we set down any cobblestone boxes over here. So we're going to grab some more real quick. Actually, we might be out of logs. Yeah, we are out of logs. Bum 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 bum. Jay Emerald says, I don't think I've ever seen you on Hermitcraft before. I always watch Gem and Pearl, and they hang out with a lot of people on there. It's nice to meet a new hermit. New for me, I mean. Yeah, I've been on Hermitcraft since week 5 of season 1, making me the original new guy. I was the first person invited to join the server who was not a founding member. And I think I delivered that backwards because it's getting late here. Okay, so we're going to head back here. Grab some more storage stuff. Okay. Burr, burr, burr. Okay, so there's one chest. That's less than we need. We need more than one chest, arguably. Okay. So let's grab that one chest plus the rest of the stuff. And we can have a little bed race with Etho, or not Etho, B-dubs. Just a fluke. You can lay your head down and dream. The city is bright, but the stars keep growing dimmer. The dishwasher runs, then you find folks from dinner. Da, 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 da. Okay, so let's go here. Oops, that's not a trident. This is a trident. So, I was thinking chapter 24 would probably be the last chapter that we would read tonight, but chapter 25 is very short. And it's kind of funny too because it's a postscript for chapter 24. So let me post this link, and we're gonna read chapter 25. Just as a reminder, we are $10 away from the next Face Gamer expansion milestone, and tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Imagine that. Chapter 25, the postscript, 1/5 of the way through the book, says Centauratron. It's not a postscript to the whole book, it's a postscript to chapter 24, which is why I realized it was kind of awkward if we, like, don't read the postscript to chapter 24 until next week, because then it won't be fresh for people. Don't fly into the mountains. Don't singe your face and boots and hair. Don't fly into the mountains. There's lava over there. Thank you for the warning. Nope, Queen. Appreciate it. Okay. So, chapter 25. Postscript. From Herman Melville's novel, Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. In behalf of the dignity of whaling, I would fain advance naught but substantiated facts, but after embattling his facts, an advocate who should wholly suppress a not unreasonable surmise, which might tell eloquently upon his cause. What is going on here, Cub? Are you just over here all the time?
Joe Hills.
Howdy, Cub. I saw your fireworks before, but I never found you. What are you up to?
Bro, I'm out here ice boat racing around this area
Oh, awesome.
and shooting off fireworks.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool area here. I was thinking I might try and get you set up in this 6th of the parking lots because I don't have to clear that whole mountain that way. But, yeah. So this might be where I set you up over here. So I just have to clear out these small islands, and it's a lot easier. But I got to get this ring road in, or belt road in first.
Oh, okay.
Did you have a view of the aurora last night at all?
Sadly, no. I looked for it, but I think light pollution in my area is too much. Oh, there's a hole right there.
Yeah. There's holes all over the place. Some creepers got in. Or on the ice.
On the ice?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they'll wander from these little islands, right? They'll spawn and then come out where I'm, like, working.
You can really get some speed going here, Joe. You really...
Oh, yeah. I was
There you
originally
go.
going to make the Belt Road ice, and I realized it was not going to be navigable at 8 blocks wide. There was no way to ride an 8-block wide ice road.
Ah, I see. Woo! That's fun.
Yeah, apparently
just been
B-Dubs
chilling.
had a really good view of the aurora. He was excited, at least.
Ooh, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. We tried to go outside of town, like, about 40 minutes, and it was, like, barely perceptible to the human eye. Like, if you put your camera on, like, 3-second exposure, it was really noticeable. It's like, I think I see some pink over there. 3-second exposure. There's definitely some pink over there, but, like, it wasn't, like, breathtaking, like, or anything.
Gotcha.
One thing we tried, though, was we went and we tried to get a view from under some, like, high voltage, long distance power transmission lines. And I don't know if you spent
yeah.
any time under those, but we used to, like, go running and hiking under them. And you know what the sound they make is?
Is it like a hum sound? Like a
Normally
hum?
there's no sound. There should not be a sound. But because of the magnetic storm, they were, like, crackling like a fire.
Ooh,
It was
dang.
really neat.
that is pretty cool.
So, yeah. Got a little recording of that, but Yeah, I was hoping
That's
that we might
awesome.
get a little bit more tonight, but I'm not. Doesn't look like it here anyway.
Yeah, I looked outside and still nothing for me, unfortunately. But I have seen a lot of great photos online and people in my Discord sending in photos, and yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. People in my
Good to see.
Discord were really hype about it too. It's fun to have something that like people all over the world can share like that.
Yeah, it's a rare thing. Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
no. Yep.
dang
Uh,
it!
Well, thanks for the ride.
Tragedy, tragedy.
Yeah.
Joe, you're pretty close now, aren't you? To 1 million.
Let me check. I'm at 975,355. Yeah.
Let's go. 25K to go.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe for the millionth block, if we could build some sort of monument where I break it. So I think I really want to break it like inside of Doc's shop or something. I don't know. I'm not sure where the
Okay.
funniest place to put a big monument would be, but
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. If you have any thoughts, I'm open to them.
I mean, wherever you want. I mean, it's your like your milestone. So
Yeah. The thing is, I'm not somebody who normally thinks about milestones. Like if you hadn't brought it up earlier, it wouldn't have even occurred to me to mark it.
maybe you do it at the spawn.
Oh, Asuma wanted to do something there. Yeah, and like I love
That would
putting
make a
stuff in Hypno's yard.
yeah. Yeah, just a make a big money right in Hypno's front yard after he cleared it out.
He'll be thrilled.
He flattened it. That would go over well with him. Yeah, that would be great. So you're just clearing out this part of the pathway now?
Yeah,
I see you
because
got a lot done since I
oh
was out here last, even.
yeah. So my thought is if I can extend this road around far enough, um, like I was gonna break the parking lots into two sets of 3/3. One on
Mm-hmm.
the east side of the building, one on the west side. And I was going to give you one of those to set up your labyrinth. I was looking at it. I was like, the
Okay.
one that would be cradled kind of by the road here would require a lot less block removal than that whole mountain in the way of the one over there.
Yep.
So I could possibly get you going sooner if I get this road extended far enough that I could mark that out for you. I'd still have to clear out this little hill here, but and these islands, but that's nothing compared to like that whole thing over there.
Yeah. Yep.
So unless you
Cool.
felt very strongly that you wanted to be over there and have the better view of the ice peaks or whatever, which is also understandable. I mean, I can see the ice peaks from here, though, so I don't know what your
Yeah, I
Bobby
can see.
mod
I can
sets
see
you.
the silhouette. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be a massive place, man. I just can't. So big.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, or a lot of like moving around it to wrap your head around it. So I'm glad that you were ice boating it, so you can kind of start mentally. I mean, you've done huge scale stuff before, like that big Trident golf course you did was so
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
massive.
that was like a similar, like I guess not really similar scale, but like similar distance, I guess, across from one side to the other.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I don't know how far like the driver brings you, but it was like something like 300 blocks or something, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And most of those were like par 3 or 4. So I mean, that was thousands of blocks of linear distance you'd travel in that golf course.
Mm-hmm.
It was very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. Yeah, it was very fun. Joe, you could put 1 or 2 holes here if you wanted to.
Yeah, I was actually
golf
gonna
course in
say
here?
once I start marking this out, I could let you know if you wanted an area around here to set up a golf course.
You
Like-
start at the very top of the ice peaks and you throw it all the way down here.
That
That'd be
could
cool.
That could be cool. Yeah. That would be pretty interesting. Oh,
Yeah, that would be. That would be.
yeah. Because that's the thing. Like this whole area is kind of like intended for people to just kind of do weird stuff that doesn't necessarily fit anywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be something too, where like all of the other builds would be visible from the golf course. Golf course is visible from the other builds. It just because otherwise we kind of splinter off toward the end of the season to work on weird stuff, and I wanted to kind of have something that pulls that together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Very true.
I actually had a question for you about space.
Yeah.
kind
you
of a
got?
thought experiment, because I realized as I'm telling my kid about like learning to navigate the city, I'm like, you're gonna have a phone eventually, but you should still know how to like look around, figure out where you are in relationship to home or relationship to things and get there,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to be able to
Yeah.
navigate.
Yep.
And I realized, I always ask myself, like, am I trying to teach my kids something I could do? And the answer with Nashville is yes. From almost anywhere in Nashville, I can figure out where I am. If I can't determine it immediately from where I am right away, I could go in any given direction for a little while and then shortly figure it out. But
Yeah. Yep.
I realized I can't do the same thing with the Milky Way. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
if I had some sort of ship that could take a limited number of hops, like instantaneously from one place to another, but I could only
Yep.
give it like relative instructions, like from here, go that far this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could I find the solar system from an arbitrary point in the Milky Way? And how many hops would it take me to like narrow it down to like get back to the solar system? Like, what would be the landmarks or space marks you might look for to try to find our solar system in particular?
So you would probably want to look for really bright nearby pulsars that
Mhm.
pulse with a very specific time. Um, so that way you could like triangulate your position in space.
Gotcha. So, how many pulsars would you say there are that we, can observed inside the Milky Way? Like ballpark. Is that like hundreds, thousands?
Probably hundreds, I would say.
Okay. But like if I picked like 8 in different like compass positions around the disk
Mm-hmm.
and memorized their frequency or
Yep.
whatever, then
Yep.
that would be enough to really get me started.
Sure. Yeah. You have to figure out you have to figure out a coordinate system. You have to use galactic coordinates, but yeah.
Mhm.
Once you had the galactic all those positions relative to the galactic coordinates,
Mhm.
then you could figure out where you are in the galaxy.
Yeah, and arguably I could probably do that based off of only 2, but more easily with 3 of them. I could try and get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you definitely want 3, but yeah, you could do it with 2 if
Okay.
if you do it really cleverly.
And so from most places, you could probably observe 3 of those 8 if you memorized ones that were far enough out. Assuming you had like the technology to easily scan for pulsars. There's a lot of this is a thought experiment. There's a lot of
Yeah,
handling
yeah,
it.
you'd have to have a incredibly powerful telescopes or incredibly powerful like easily, you have to be able to see through cosmic dust and you have like
Yeah.
ignoring all that extra stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you could do that. That's actually how GPS satellites know where they're at. They actually use background stars that don't move very much
Mhm.
to triangulate their position, and then they, based on where you're at on the ground, that's how they know where they're at, so they can tell you, like how far it is to wherever you're going.
Mhm. Well, that's
Kind
cool.
of cool.
Well, thank you for indulging me, Cub.
There you go. Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah. So anything else going on with you these days?
Smelting up some sand. Smelting up some sand. That's
Oh.
why. That's why I'm going around. I'm sick of looking at sand smelting, so I'm just
That's fair.
going around visiting people. I shot Scar earlier.
Oh yeah, I
Visited
saw
B-Dubs
that.
a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Coming out here to see you.
Thank you for
Saw
not
Etho.
murdering me. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. You're really touring the regions there.
Just going around the server, just chilling, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Awesome.
reading Moby Dick though, right?
Yeah. I was in the middle of chapter 25 when I saw your boat down there, and I was like, what is that? Because I was really high up, and I'm like, there's something moving down there, and it's not like a skeleton, but like it, and I'm like, I couldn't even tell that it was a boat in the distance. I was like, let me go see what that is. But yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Usually on Saturday nights, I do like grindy stuff on the server while I read a book, and yeah, so we're just wrapping up chapter 25. I don't know if you've read Moby Dick, but it's basically this guy, Ishmael, trying to like tell a story about this time he went whaling, but he keeps getting distracted and like looking up stuff. Like Wikipedia didn't exist when this book was written, but this
Mhm.
book pre dates and presupposes the future existence of Wikipedia. Like it's almost science fiction. It's like the author knew Wikipedia would exist and wrote this book like the guy is going down this Wikipedia rabbit hole while he's trying to tell a story. And he'll say something like this is from a later chapter I haven't read in years, but there's something like where it's like, so and so was up on the mast, and you might think that he was in a crow's nest, but he wasn't, because this is a whaling ship, so they don't have crow's nests. Crow's nests were invented by John Crow, who was actually from this island, which, while connected with whaling, the invention of his was actually intended for this kind of ship. This is why that kind of ship would love an invention like the crow's nest. And he goes on and on about all this other stuff, and he's like, the chapter ends with him saying, like, anyway, so this guy was standing on a board nailed to the mast and yelling at us. It's just like, that's the whole chapter. It's a weird book. It's a weird
I think
book.
I read the first couple chapters, but I think I got distracted.
It's
like much like Ishmael gets distracted.
Yeah, if you
by
don't go
something else.
into it expecting it to be this weird rambling exploration, it's hard to follow, So
Yeah, it's good. How many chapters are there? Like, are you a good portion of the way through the book, or are you...
let's see. We're on chapter 25, and there's 135 chapters and an epilogue.
Ooh.
But I mean, the thing is, the chapters are not all the same length, so it's harder to tell than like in Dracula, where almost every chapter was the same length. I was like, okay, I know exactly how much I've got left. In this one,
I gotcha.
it's all over the place. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing it till I'm done. But like, there's a lot of grinding stuff to do around here.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, like, I'm trying to get this open for people to start doing events and building stuff out here by like mid-June. I'm hoping to get get you in particular set up kind of first though. So when I kind of do the broader rollout, I can be like, oh look, and Cub fans already started marking out what he's going to work on,
Perfect. Yeah.
So I'm hoping to get you set up sooner than that, because I'm supposed to be moving the last week of this month. I say I'm
okay.
supposed to. I've got to be out of my current apartment by the last day of the month, but I've got like a week of overlap with the other apartment, getting the keys and whatnot.
Okay.
And it's across town, so it's not like it's an interstate move. But yeah. So ideally, I want to get you set up before the last week of the month, so that way I can be like, okay, I'm going to go move, and then I can pop back in and be like, oh, and look, Cub fans, just getting started, but, look, it's happening. It's all happening. Yay. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously work at your own pace, but yeah, hoping to get you something before I go. And like I said, it'll probably be this area here, because I realized that knocking out that whole mountain first is not the best use of my time in terms of priorities.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. All right, Joe, I'll leave you to it, man. But yeah. Good talking with you, man.
Yeah,
And,
thanks for stopping by, Cub. It's always a delight to see you.
Yeah. All right, one for the road.
Woo! Beautiful. Ooh, very kind of Mardi Gras. I like it.
Those were pretty good. Yeah, I like that one.
That's
Yeah. All right.
yeah.
All right, Joe. Later, man.
See ya. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and continue reading chapter 25, postscript. Okay. Bum. I'm gonna just start the chapter over because it's only 4 paragraphs. So let's just do that. Lovely Cub intermission. I don't mind. I'm actually glad he stopped by. But yeah, thank you all for your patience and indulging Cub and I in our conversation. So, chapter 25, postscript. In behalf of the dignity of whaling, I would fain advance naught but substantiated facts. But, after embattling his facts, an advocate who should wholly suppress a not unreasonable surmise, which might tell eloquently upon his cause, such an advocate, would he not be blameworthy? It is well known that at the coronation of kings and queens, even modern ones, a certain curious process of seasoning them for their functions is gone through. There is a salt cellar of state, so-called, and there may be a caster of state. How they use the salt precisely? Who knows? Certain I am, however, that a king's head is solemnly oiled at his coronation. Even as a head of salad. Can it be, though, that they anoint it with a view of making its interior run well, as they anoint machinery? Much might be ruminated here concerning the essential dignity of this regal process, because in common life we esteem but meanly and contemptibly a fellow who anoints his hair, and palpably smells of that anointing. In truth, a mature man who uses hair oil, unless medicinally, that man has probably got a quaggy spot in him somewhere. As a general rule, he can't amount to much in his totality. But the only thing to be considered here is this. What kind of oil is used at coronations? Certainly, it cannot be olive oil, nor macassar oil, nor castor oil, nor bear's oil, nor train oil, nor cod liver oil. What then can it possibly be but sperm oil in its unmanufactured, unpolluted state, the sweetest of all oils? Think of that, ye loyal Britons! We whalemen supply your kings and queens with coronation stuff. It's just like him being like, yeah, and if you're British, here's one more point. Take that. Take that. Oh. It's a very wild book. Okay, I think we want to go up there and knock that out from the top. Nope, Queen says, is that why we have Caesar dressing? Oh, yeah, that's what they anointed Caesar with. Salad dressing. El Bubbly says he closed his journal, then remembered the king stuff and opened it up again to write that down too. Yeah, I imagine him lying in bed. And it's like, wait. One more thing I gotta write. Quick. Turn on the lamp. And one more thing. Bum 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 bum. Keon's Bishop says, this guy really is some guy you met at a party who reads Wikipedia articles to you loudly. I doubted you at first when you said that, but wow. I know, right? Welcome, Zombie83. Glad you could join us this evening. Ishmael. I'm open-minded. Also Ishmael. A man who oils his hair? Writes Centauratron. Alpacatastic writes, hold on, this'll really devastate them. Nerdy Zombie says, been a fan of Hermitcraft for 5 years. Awesome, welcome, glad you could join us. We just had Cub Fan stop by, and then we were chatting about Chapter 25 of Moby Dick here. Glad you could join us. Also, I see we have a new Patreon patron rolling in. Thank you so much. Just so you know, I send those invites out manually once per day. So if you don't see an invite in your inbox right now, that's because I'm literally streaming. And yeah, we don't leave that stuff to computers. A good way to keep your Discord safe is to not link its API with Patreon's API. So Nerdy says, recently followed you on Twitch. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nope, Queen says, I should probably get to bed. Good night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Will do. Yeah, let's go ahead and remind folks, if you're enjoying the stream, we are $10 away from our third face camera expansion milestone. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. So here we go. Posting that here. Da-da-da-da. Oh, boy. I gotta make sure to not accidentally mine my millionth block somewhere inconvenient. Because then I can't put a monument there. Maybe I should go to Doc and ask if there's a way to get bedrock in vanilla. And then use Doc's bedrock for my monument. But then also put my monument somewhere really inconvenient for Doc. I think that brings it full circle. I think if anybody knew a way to get bedrock in vanilla, it's Doc. What am I up to tonight? Oh, great question. Let me send you a link to what we're building, courtesy of the U.S. federal government. This is the libraryofcongress.gov's copy of the survey I'm working from of the Bell Laboratories Research and Development Campus from Holmdel, New Jersey. It's got a pretty cool oval, which I guess I should zoom out on in the map here so you guys can see it better. It's got a pretty sweet oval. We're working on the roads, the belt roads for the oval. I feel like if I asked ZF if there's a way to get bedrock in vanilla, he would laugh, but he wouldn't have one. I think Doc would be like, you can't tell anyone I've been sitting on this for 3 months. I'd be like, no, Doc, it needs to go in my episode. He'd be like, oh, but then they're going to patch it. It's like, but Doc, here's a story excuse. Okay. I'm having a really fun time tonight. I hope y'all are enjoying the stream. Even though we didn't get an incredible view of the aurora yesterday, I think it put me in a good mood. Going out there and just getting out of the apartment a little bit. Black Space Zero says it's super fun. I'm glad you're having fun too. I'm glad this isn't an entirely self-indulgent exercise. This is definitely a self-indulgent exercise. I'm having a lot of fun. But yeah, I want y'all to have fun too. Dun, 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 dun. Ken's Madison says, just joined it, having a great time, Joe. I'm so glad. Yeah, we read, I think, 4 or 5 chapters of Moby Dick tonight. So that was in particular what I was curious about, was how folks were enjoying that. So chapter 26, which we're going to open with next Saturday, has the same title as chapter 27. So basically, chapter 26 introduces Starbuck, the chief mate. Chapter 27 introduces the second and third mates, as well as the harpooneers. And then chapter 28 introduces Ahab. So our theme next Saturday is going to be meeting the crew. So that should be fun. As well as meeting the captain. I think the name Starbuck comes from a goddess, right? I felt like... Well, in fiction, Starbuck first appeared in 1851, but it's a family name that existed in the 1800s. El Bubbly says Starbucks uses a goddess in their logo, but I don't think that's her name. Oh, okay. Yeah, apparently it's just a family name. But apparently its first use in fiction was in Moby Dick, according to Wikipedia, which is not necessarily the authority on this, but it's what we have on short notice. So yeah, so we'll have a chapter about the chief mate, a chapter about the second and third mates and the harpooneers, and then a chapter about Ahab next week. That should be fun. I like it when we can get the stream kind of having a theme, you know? Like, because then it feels like we're moving through something different each night, too. Raystar says in the YouTube chat, this season is so amazing. And Joe, this is an integral part of that awesomeness. Thank you for sharing the epic hooray-ness. Yay. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. We are not getting to bed very quickly, huh? B-Dubs is no longer online, so let's try and get back on that.
Beacon bed.
Jill Jackson says, is that a super collider? I'm not sure what you mean. Welcome, Razor Randon. Glad you could join us this evening. We are just getting organized a little bit. Welcome, Audrey Holt. Glad you could join us as well in the YouTube chat. Okay, so how have I been? Asked Razor Randon in the Twitch chat. I've been well. Thank you for asking. I'm excited. I feel like things are moving along in life. We got approved for our new apartment. I put the down payment or the deposit in. My daughter got accepted to a good middle school, so we're moving across town for that. So she's growing up. We're getting stuff done, getting boxes packed and stuff around here. Jill Jackson says, oh, I'm asking what your base is. Oh, this is Bell Laboratories Homedale campus. Jill Jackson, I'm going to post a what we're building link for you so you can see the map I'm working from as well as a history of the site, if you're curious. Razor Randon says, awesome, has Badger made it over? We're still slogging through the immigration process there. That's hopefully going to be done soon, but it's impossible to put a date on any of that, which is stressful, but whatever. With everything else coming along, I'm not going to stress about it too much. I'm just going to focus on making sure that whenever the immigration stuff is approved, that the new apartment is great, you know, that sort of thing. Scar's having a good time with kinetic energy, high places, and skeletons. Wow. What a guy. What a life. A life well lived. Huh. Well, that's something. Huh. Can skeletons use swords? Do you think we should go bail Scar out? Anyone know where Scar is? Seems like he might be in a death loop. Okay. Well, I trust your judgment. Okay, Etho says it's fine, so... Spider Kid 5657 asks how many dollars for a 48-hour stream. Well, tips are always welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. There is no tipping goal for a 48-hour stream because I'm a single parent and I have to get my kid to school, and that would be broadly irresponsible. Woo! So yeah, we're not going to do that. But thank you for asking. Okay, so let me zoom in over here and figure out where I'm working. Okay, so if I'm at 744 right now, so I would need to be at 744, 1869. I'm looking for that message in the Hermitcraft group chat. Guys, come help! Okay, I'm sure Cub is actually on the way over there. Or he's AFK. Okay. What am I doing for Mother's Day? I'm gonna be seeing my mom at some point tomorrow for operational security reasons. I'm gonna be kind of vague about that. Okay, so this is gonna go along there until let's how long is that line about that angle? $730, 1867. Okay. What's my Minecraft version? 1.20.4. Okay, so I'm thinking this is not cutting in far enough here. I'm gonna have to clean that up some. Okay. So let's go ahead then and also grab these. My daughter's 11. Okay. So here we go. Gonna get some blocks and manufacture those. Manufacture those. Do 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 do. Woo. Okay. Welcome, Not Now. Glad you could join us. Audrey Holt says, any tips on how to space out making big projects in Minecraft? I just do whatever makes sense at the time. A lot of stuff I do is just what feels right. So you gotta know what feels right for you and know how to listen to yourself about that, I guess. Okay. Oops. That's fine-ish. We'll figure out how we're gonna do this, because I'm not gonna remove that whole spike there. I think it's interesting. But we will have to fix this somehow here. Okay, so if we come this way, we're at around 761. So, yeah. 762, 1873. It's going to be where this cuts in here. And then that's going to continue to there. Okay. I don't know why people are thinking... So the only real tip-based rewards we have is that when people hit certain tipping milestones on the abacus, the camera gets bigger. We are $10 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Yeah, people are spamming about me throwing my pickaxe into a cactus. I don't... Is that like a meme? I don't know. In general, if you spam about things, you get timed out. So I would recommend against spamming the same question repeatedly. Especially now that I've answered it. Okay. Dun 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 dun. Do 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 do. Pum pum. Bum 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 bum. Let's go ahead and swing back by over here so we can lay our heads down and dream. I missed it. Okay. Parkour. Nope. I think Etho's already sleeping through the night. Good job, Etho. Okay. So there are going to be creepers that spawn that fall down on us if we're not careful. Okay, so we know that this part is going to fork that way and then continue this way. But where exactly? Oh, to there it looks like. And then it's going to go through there to here. Okay, are we still in range of that beacon? Maybe not, but maybe. Have a good night, Amethyst Whisper. Sleep well. I am getting all the beacons from Red Kendra Dreadful. Why am I not wearing my helmet? Oh, I left it in the closet. We had a threat of a tornado the other day. And you want to keep your helmet in your closet so that if there's a tornado, you don't get a brain injury. Okay, so let's see. That's going to go through here and then split out this way. Let's check out exactly where this is here. Oh, because it's that kind of thing. It's not gonna... Got it. Okay. So that's back there, though. But then over here... Da-da-da-da. Okay. So 823, which is basically where we're at, 1898. Yep, that's where that is. Cool. So that one's exactly where it needs to be. And then this one needs to go 838, which is probably going to put us about there, but not quite. Negative 1908. Cool, cool, cool. Have a good night, and Audrey Holt. Good night. Okay. So we're gonna, since we verified the location of this marker, we're gonna switch it with the verified marker. So that's gonna come this way. Hey, we got a tip rolling in from PayPal from Janky Reeves, who says, been missing your stream since working the night shift. Certainly glad to be here tonight. Thank you so much, Janky Reeves. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. And here we go. It's time to expand Joe. Alrighty, that puts us now 20 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. It is actually coming up on midnight here in Tennessee, so I'm probably going to wrap up the stream in the next few minutes. Do try to get those tips in now if you'd like to be thanked during this stream. Okay, so let's look at how this is going to work. So this is going to end up kind of folding that way a little bit. Okay, so this is 817. Negative 1889. Okay, so yeah, that's going to stretch like that to there. Then arc to that way to there. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah. Feeling pretty good about this. Okay, since we've verified this, we just didn't have the marker at the time. We're going to put that there. Yeah, we're going to have to probably start marking some of these as well. Whoops, that's not where it goes. Okay. Have a good time caring for the chickens, Heinrich Cole. Or Kroll. Okay. So then that one presumably actually does go underneath here. But let's... Okay. Verify that. 845. Yep. 1114. Okay, so it's actually there. So we can remove that marker as imprecise and out of date. Super Crow, I should be streaming on YouTube now. If I'm not, that's a surprise because Jason Brabon just said hi in the YouTube chat. So I'm pretty sure I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch and joehills.net/live right now. Okay. Centauratron writes, I want to point out that Ishmael says the whale has no famous author, as he is in a book entitled The Whale, which is by a famous author. In fairness, I don't think Herman Melville was a famous author back then. I'm not sure. I don't think he was already famous or anything when this came out. Ken Dreadful says, I'm obsessed with the Juppet skin. It's a fantastic statement on the medium. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you to say. We haven't broken a million yet. 700 or 979,000. Okay, cool. So this is definitely coming along well here. Janky Reef says, sadly, it seems many authors and artists tend to become famous posthumously. And El Bubbly says, I do think it's pretty cheeky of Melville to have his character in his book titled The Whale lament people saying there's no book on the whale. Yep. That cheeky Melville. Okay, so this road here is going to stretch from back there along here. Okay, yeah, this person is just going to be banned. Next problem. Okay. So let's get this through here. So that's going to go under there, around to there. I haven't figured out exactly how we're going to arc or arch that so it looks good. But I feel like there's a way to do it. It's such a weird structure in the first place. And then, yeah, this part out here, too, is going to be kind of strange. We're going to have... So the center line of this is going to come out this way. And it's going to scrape this whole bit here. But we can remove that without going all the way up into the arch. Yeah, and then that's going to reemerge back on this side. There's our copper marker. Okay, and then there's a marker. And there's a marker. Okay. Shortleaf says, this is so relaxing. Good night. Oh, you know, speaking of relaxing, I should probably actually find a safe place to log out because the server's about to restart, which is also a great time to wrap up the stream. Server will restart in 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. Can I land on top of this tree here? Yeah, there we go. Okay, look at that. We swept this road all the way down from there to there. Yep, Fred, that is the mini HUD mod. Toggled mini HUD main rendering off. Toggled mini HUD main rendering on. Yay. Mike Chen says that's a cool looking build so far. Thank you. Yeah, we got a lot done out in that area, bringing the road all the way around to here. Then we tonight got some work done here on the west entrance drive. That's going to extend out that way for a ways. So yeah, a lot of progress. Thank you all so much for hanging out, having a good time. Appreciate everybody who tipped and signed up for the Patreon. Like I said, those invites usually go out within 24 hours. So you can expect those in the next day or so. Let's see. I should probably figure out... Oh, Hermitcraft's down for the night. Night, Hermitcraft. Let's see. It looks like... Good is streaming his new Alone subathon. Oh, he might be actually asleep. Never mind, we're not going to raid Good. He's asleep. He is out in the wilderness. He's built a cabin by hand on his stream. But we'll raid him another night when he's actually awake. Let's see. It looks like Liara is playing Horizon Forbidden West. You may recognize Liara as the subtitler for the Hermitcraft update thing. I don't know what they call it. But anyway, our raid message when you get over there is, howdy y'all, Joe Hills raid here. Anyway, until next time y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. Stop streaming, stop in the stream.